Pixel TV på i3 præsenteres i samarbejde med Elgiganten.
Pixel TV E3.
Jeg har lige haft hands-on på Metro Exodus, en post-apokalyptisk shooter, der foregår i Moskva. Men denne gang foregår det ikke i metroen i Moskva, men vi bevæger os ud i det store åbne Rusland. Jeg fik muligheden for at snakke med en udvikler, og hvad han havde at sige om spillet, det kan I se her.
So the Metro Exodus story carries on from the third book in Dimitri's series of novels in the Metro series, Metro 2035. So the end of Metro 2035 sets up the story of Metro Exodus, and Metro Exodus, in the sense of the games, carries on from the redemption ending of Metro Last Light. So the more positive ending. One of the major new features in Metro Exodus are these new big sandbox environments. The classic linear style gameplay of previous Metro games still exists in Metro Exodus. The player is going to weave in and out of these two experiences, and even within the sandbox environments, we've tried really hard to make sure that narrative driving force, that core narrative thread that has existed in previous Metro games still exists in Metro Exodus and still exists in those open areas, despite the fact that we're giving players a lot more freedom. And size-wise, the game is so much larger in scope. I think the largest level that we had in Metro Last Light was the swamp level, and that was about 200 square meters. And in Metro Exodus, the level that we're showing you today is about 2 square kilometers. So it's much, much bigger, and that's one level. And there's hours and hours of gameplay in that one level. There's hours and hours in the critical path, and there's even more hours of side content that the players can explore and find on their own. The weapon system has been completely overhauled and rebuilt from the ground up in Metro Exodus. Now it's a lot more modular. There are 5 hard points on every weapon, and you can swap out parts like a stock or a barrel or magazine types, and add attachments like scopes and lasers and things like that. So there's a lot more customization that players will be able to experience, and there's also a notion of cleaning and maintaining your weapons, where weapons will get dirty over time. If you step into water or go into a dusty, dirty area, they'll start to build up dirt and dust and things like that on the weapon, and it will show visibly. And then at these workbenches, you're going to have to clean your weapons to maintain them. Otherwise, the performance of the weapon reduces, and the chance of it jamming or overheating increases over time. So you're going to have to make sure to maintain them at one of these workbenches. Now, these workbenches are new. Where in previous Metro games you would go to a trader and purchase a different version of a weapon and upgrade, things like that. Now all that is in the control of the player whenever they want. The workbenches allow players to have access to the full suite of customization options for themselves, customizing their armor, customizing their weapons, cleaning their weapons, and crafting things like med packs, gas mask filters, ammunition, throwable items, everything that the player needs. This crafting system is new. We used to have an economy of bullets in previous Metro games, where you had the military grade ammo that you could fire for more power, or you could decide to use as currency instead. That idea was worked for the society that had been built up in the Moscow metro system, but now you're out in the wilderness. There aren't established traders along this route. It's kind of every man for himself out there. So the player has to scavenge for resources and craft the things that they need. And the player also has a backpack, and the backpack allows the player to do a limited set of the customization work that they can do at a workbench, but anywhere out in the field. So it kind of allows players to adapt to situations as they need, to change their loadout, change their weapons, depending on how they want to play and depending on how they want to react to a situation. If you go in to an area and try to sneak around, use stealthy weapons to a situation. If you go in to an area and try to sneak around, use stealthy weapons to a situation. If you go in to an area and try to sneak around, use stealthy weapons. If you go into an area and try to sneak around, use stealthy weapons. Throughout the year, you'll stop in different places, and depending on the time of year, that season will show in effect in that environment, in the weather that you experience, and also in visuals and other ways that the environment is kind of alive in that area. Because the journey takes place over a lot of landmass as well, you kind of span the continent. There's going to be a lot of different types of environments that you see. Last year at E3 in our announcement trailer, you saw the forest environment, and that takes place in autumn. And today we're showing off the kind of swampy river bank area of the Volga River, which is south of Moscow. It's one of the first stops along this journey. And it's springtime. You see the snow is already starting to melt. Still a little bit on the ground, but there's not like frozen lakes. Like there's water that you can traverse using the boat, which is a new traversal mechanic that we've introduced into Metro Exodus. So there's a lot more variety and a lot more different things that the player is going to see in the environment and in the world, in the weather and the visuals this time around. We're not showing too much of the story and too much of other levels quite yet, but players can expect the very classic Metro experience that they know and love to be returning in some of the other levels and some of the other experiences that we have to offer. But also, even in this environment that you've played today, there are opportunities to get a little bit of a flavor of that, because it's part of this hybrid sandbox survival gameplay that we've created for Metro Exodus, where you still get little flavors of that even out in these open environments.
Det var et lille smugkig på Metro Exodus, et spil jeg selv ser rigtig meget frem til. Hvad synes du? Skriv i kommentarer nedenunder, og så tak fordi du så med.